Let's start with a question. We're going to send through the questions once they are read, and that way we'll have some process here. Please address the issue of YU in Israel. For example, what is YU doing to represent and influence modern Orthodoxy's position on Giur, religious courts, religious councils, outreach, etc.?
Well, the short answer is we're feeding Israel our graduates. Please let's remember, for all our scope, Yeshiva is an educational institution. We're not a political institution. We're not a representative institution. We are precluded by taking stands on political or even certain particular issues. We don't do that. We have a faculty that's free to express their views. Thank God we have a gifted cadre of Roshei Yeshiva who have their views and have their Talmidim and are free to state that. Yeshiva University, frankly, keeps it simple. We are committed to Torah Umada L'Chatchila within a big tent. We are committed to the survival and strengthening and flourishing of Medinat Yisrael as Reshit Tzmichat Ge'ulatenu. We are committed to our students mattering in the world. We are committed to Torah being the core of what we're doing, but Torah as a launching pad for our students and for the Jewish people to be a Mamlechet Kohanim and Goy Kadosh. We are not taking particular positions on issues. It would be wrong for us to do it. Having said that, the work that we do in training our students to be advocates on other college campuses, in working with high school students for the State of Israel, one of the largest delegations of students involved in AIPAC come from Yeshiva University. Our Israel Club is the largest undergraduate club in Yeshiva University. We have launched a few years ago a dynamic and exciting Center for Israel Studies that is putting Israel studies on the map at Yeshiva University. We are the only university in the world where 80% of our first-year students study in yeshivot and seminaries in Israel and then return from there to build on it with us. About 15% of our graduates make Aliyah. We have a glorious kollel in Yerushalayim and Bayit Vagan, the Grus Kollel, where one cohort of our Smicha class studies every year and makes a big difference. We also believe that the alumni that live in Israel are a force majeure in influencing society and influencing community. We also recognize that through the Center for the Jewish Future, we have now been sending our students and our student leaders to do programming, to do service learning programming, to work with indigent students in Yerucham and Dimona. This year in Arad, we have a group from Yamin Ord who are coming to Jerusalem to work with our students to learn English, but to learn community. And we recognize that looking forward, in addition to doing academic programs with all of our graduate schools, with various universities in Israel, we recognize the need to continue to ask the questions of how do we get to add value in Israel? I haven't found the answers to that. We're having academic programs, we're doing academic exchanges. This year, I believe we have 20 men and women undergraduates in a joint program with Bar Ilan University, doing research in nanotechnology in the laboratories of Bar Ilan University. There are lots of ways we're doing this, but we haven't finished the story. It's one of my visions and one of my dreams that is not yet successful. Your guidance could help.
Thank you. Moving to the next question. What impact will the CJF's new role overseeing student life have on the ability of undergrads to be running their own programs, parentheses, and learn from successes, failures alike? Sent from Aaron.
Okay, let me try to contextualize that. In dealing with the, not just the reimagining, but the fact that over the last 3 years, we have in fact pared our budget by about $35 million because that's what great universities have to do at times of constraint, and that's what we need to do. We have done it without in any manner, shape, or form inhibiting our academic programs, and thanks to my colleagues, we've done it without in any way abbreviating the quality or the quantity of the support programs or the student life programs that we've had. We're tightening our belts. We're not tightening it around our neck. We're tightening it around our waist. Part of what I've been looking to do in reimagining is to look at the student affairs structure and say, let's make sure that we're doing it in the best possible way. Now, you all know that we've had wonderful people working with students in creating extraordinary student life here, 16 NCAA teams and student newspapers and a cappella groups. Have I mentioned the Maccabees? I should also mention the Benots, who are the Stern College group, and another rival group at Yeshiva College called the Y Studs. But an array of student clubs and newspapers and dramatic societies and learning competitions, really as full or fuller as any university. We do want to make sure that we can do it in as integrated a way as possible, in a way that constantly reinforces in us the nuanced balance that we need to maintain in what makes this an institution that is proudly Torah Umada. In doing that, we are using the strengths of the Dean of Students Office, the Office of the Mashgichim, and the Center for the Jewish Future to look at the programs that they do to work with students to create student life on these campuses and say, how do we do it in an integrated way? We're in the midst of doing that, and we're in the midst of consulting with students on how to do that. By the way, the other piece of it is student housing and student life in the dorms. We are a work in progress and in process, but I'm really confident that students will have a larger role in shaping the quality of life, and I think they're up to it.
Okay. This question comes in from Michael in Israel. In terms of the message of YU, it seems that there is a very mixed message. Explore the world and embrace leadership, but at the same time, a, quote, censorship committee exists. And many of the student leaders felt suppressed, and that we hit a ceiling if we try and aspire too high. I'm talking about very basic programs that YU administration shut down simply because they don't feel it's necessary, and that if student leaders try to break the mold, they meet with strong resistance. How do you feel about this?
Well, we haven't done a good job with the censorship committee of the questions at the town hall, at this town hall meeting, and I'm glad we haven't. There is no censorship committee. I think the challenge that we all have is, how do we learn to be all that we can be? How do we reach as high as we can reach? How do we seek to influence the world and recognize that the way we get to do all of that is to say that we live in an environment with some non-negotiables. The core of Torah is that we are a legal system and that we live in an environment where yesh gvul. There are broad boundaries, but there are boundaries. Every university has boundaries as to the appropriateness or inappropriateness of programs and what offerings there are. This certainly no less than others. However, there is no censorship committee. There has always been an attempt on our part to say that we want to encourage students to have as much positive programming as they can within the purposes and the hashkafa, the philosophy of Yeshiva University. I know and believe that our students are thrilled to push that envelope, but they're also thrilled to live in that envelope. And ladies and gentlemen, we're sending them from here, and if we're lucky, we're sending them from here to communities where they will master the struggle of dealing with being apart from and being a part of. We'll master the struggle of saying, how far do we reach while staying who we are? How do we influence by being who we are, but how are we always open to new ideas, never afraid of exploring new ideas, but doing it in the context in which we do it? So I will promise you this: we will continue to have controversy at this university and at this yeshiva. We will continue to ask the hard questions of what's inside the tent and what's outside the tent. We continue to be in New York City, which the last I looked has an abundance of opportunities, of educational and experiential opportunities that, God forbid, we would not inhibit students from taking a part of. And I think you keep watching, keep looking at the website, keep talking to your children, and see how broad the array is. And the people, by the way, who are working on this are as sensitive can be as to how to thread this needle. But it's good to learn how to thread the needle, because we have a lot of sewing to do to keep the Jewish people sewn together.
Next question comes from Yitzi. What is YU's goal in terms of undergraduate enrollment, and how does YU plan on reaching that goal? Softball question.
Another softball question. Thanks a lot. I don't think I put a number to what the goal is, I will tell you clearly, the enrollment goal is more. The enrollment goal is more because we have together crafted a really sacred space where students can be prepared to truly succeed in the world and to advance the agenda of Klal Yisrael. And it's hard to think that we have not been effective enough in persuading the students and parents that they should be here, and the investment and sometimes sacrifice that they make together with us is a non-negotiable investment in in building the future. So we've worked in enormous ways. You know, there are rarely schools that have a better student-faculty ratio than we do, where you will be, or your children will be, in a more intimate classroom setting, where you will have more faculty and rabbeim invested in the growth of the student, where the environment, frankly, is celebratory, where you get into the swim by being part of all kinds of programs, and you also get into the swim by getting into the swim. It's an extraordinary place. We also have the challenge of saying, how do we maintain it as a somewhat bifurcated place? Because the truth is that the best and the brightest must be at this university because they're going to lead Klal Yisrael. Therefore, the honors programs and the Masmidim programs that we have assembled are ones where we make no apologies. The best and the brightest students in the world can be challenged, can succeed, can thrive as whole human beings here. By the same token, other students who are also wonderful, but might not have the same academic gifts as the honor students, have to find their honorable place here too. This is the place that models Torah Umada, that models an integrated life, that models a network that will sustain young men and young women where they meet each other and build lives together. And therefore, we also have to be the place for every student who, with our help, can negotiate the rigors of a dual curriculum to succeed in life. That's a big, tall order. It requires an enormous amount of economic help and philanthropic help, but it also requires all of our skills to do it. But we must do it, because that's our mission and our mandate. You will be seeing, under the leadership now of Rabbi Kenny Brander, who is now also taking responsibility as special assistant to the president, to take our recruitment efforts from the places that they've been nobly placed and take them to a whole other place. We need to be more of a presence in your children's schools. They need to be here more. They need to see the excitement of Yeshiva University, as most of the pulpits that have opened in the last few years have been filled by young and wonderful trained musmachim of Yeshiva who are staying close to Yeshiva. As more and more of the leadership and the educational systems in our day schools and yeshivas are filled by our graduates who we are working with the University School Partnership day to day, as more CJF programs are taking place in your communities, we are looking to create more and more of an awareness of what yeshiva is and what we want our communities to be. Work with us in cheerleading that. Work with us in telling us what to do better. We work real hard at this, and we're getting good at it. But I must tell you that we have room here, and will make room here, for all the students that should be here. And as long as we're talking about enrollment, somewhere along the way, we developed this notion that if you study in Israel, 3 years is enough for a college education. We encourage all our students to learn in Israel. We think it's priceless. We think it's important. We even give appropriate academic credit for it. That doesn't mean that a student should come back here and spend 3 years academically and 3 years learning. We believe in the 4 years. We can make it possible for you to graduate in 6 semesters if your life plan requires that, but we urge you to do 4 years. In fact, if you go to Israel, we incentivize and say, if you plan to stay for 4 years, we'll guarantee you that your 4th year will not be more than 50% of that year's tuition. So in every way, we think this is a precious gift for someone's life, and we want more and more students here.
Great answer.
Thanks.
Thank you.
This is the first one that you thought was a great answer?
That was
It's good to
well,
know.
apparently I'm not doing a good job moderating, because I'm trying to post some of these questions and they're not going through. So even though we're 11 years into the 21st century, I still haven't quite caught up.
This is a timeless place.
We have had a number of questions that continue to come in on business education. I'll try to post some of them. We'll set them up. What is the future of the Sims School and business education at YU? There have been some really great questions and points on this about specific ideas in curriculum. Again, we'll try to post some of those, and then we'll try to get more full answers to people afterwards. But that's a lot of the gist.
Let me try to get through it. This is one of the beauties of being in the 21st century, where you can read things on Wikipedia that haven't happened yet, and in fact are never going to happen. And the notion of communicating in the 24-hour news cycle is a challenge to every university. To this Jewish university, it's an indomitable challenge, but we're up to the challenge. We deeply believe in quality business education. Everything we're doing through our reimagining is to provide a better education for our students, a better business education for our students, build on the success that was Sims to create a better success in what will be Sims, but as a much more integrated whole with the liberal arts and sciences to benefit both the arts and science students and the business students. As part of this reimagining, we're trying to simplify what dean's offices mean and have one on each campus. As part of the reimagining, we're trying to get faculty to interact with each other. Central to this reimagining has been the strengthening of an incredible department of economics, an incredible department of mathematics, which we think is absolutely essential for students who want a career in business and students who want a career in the law or the humanities. We are trying to create a stronger whole. Our commitment to business education through the Sims School of Business as part of the undergraduate academic enterprise is not only strong, it's stronger. We are proceeding with the process of getting our business programs accredited. Just this week, the state of New York provided us authority to offer an MBA and an executive MBA, which we're going to look to do in the right ways. We already offer the master's in accounting, and our accounting program is non-Parel. We have a wonderful business faculty. They're here, they're staying, they're stronger, they're going to be of more influence. The students who will come to our business program should come just as they come to Cornell, which has a wonderful business program, in a more integrated, in a more nuanced way, working with our really terrific Career Development Center. We are looking to involve our students from the day they come on campus. I've made one of my presidential mandates. That usually means I jump up and down, say this must be, and everybody smiles and ignores me. But they might not ignore me this time. That in the very beginning of a student's entry to the Wolf campus and the Barron campus, they must have a serious interview with the professionals at the Career Development Center so that they are not victims, that they are planning academically, they're planning professionally to do all the growth they need to do while they're undergraduates so that the future can be theirs. We're committed and double committed to that. That's really the story. And that's, I can say more about it, but it'll be more of the same.
We have time for two quick more questions and a couple of concluding remarks. This question comes from Moshe, and again, it resonates with some of the other comments that have been made. I believe that there's a lot of positive energy about YU around the globe, whether from more right-wing communities or more left. I just lost that question. There it is. And I thank President Joel for that. How can we alumni living outside the New York metropolitan area stay connected to our YU experience without being close to the resources in New York?
Look, the first thing that we all have to do is build our homes, right? Build our families. You all have to have the kind of wedding that Esther and I had 2 days ago. You build it by remembering who you are, by having consequential friends, by staying close to Torah, by remembering what our mission is to be Kechochvei Hashemayim, that we're supposed to be, shine like the stars, to be the navigation system for the world. And we do that by choosing which community we go to. It's why it's interesting, because it's not a monolithic community. It's Shivim Panim LaTorah, it's 70 faces of Torah, and we all want them to live together. We make other choices as we go on. I think what we need to do is be sacredly self-conscious. We need to take this seriously. We need to do Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha. We need to bring the joy into our lives. We have to know that as we're dealing with education And when we're dealing with economic hardship, the focus isn't just on education. It's how do we look at our lives and how do we look on what's important. And like our parents and grandparents, focus on what's essential, on what's non-negotiable, and enjoy each other. The other day, one of my children said to me, you know, Dad, I remember when we were growing up, going bowling was a vacation. Now, I own no shares in AMC, if it still exists, and I'm not pushing for bowling. I'm saying what makes us special is what we have to keep reminding ourselves about. So frankly, I travel more than most in our community. I go to your communities. I have different people talk to me. Something is happening. You're coming alive. You're coming alive as Torah Umada L'Chatchila within the big tent. It transcends right. It transcends left. It's about a nuanced life with us together with the Rabbona Shalom, knowing that we're advancing the journey of the Jewish people through Torah and through a broad reach. How do you stay in touch with us? Give us your children. Give us your children. Give us your guidance. We should be an absolute non-negotiable part of your masa, of your tzedakah. It really matters. We won't be able to do it without you. But more than that, go online, check out our website, look at the pictures. YU Torah is close to 40,000 shiurim available to you. Use it. Contribute to it, by the way, not just shiurim, contribute with your support so we can keep doing it. Look at the different, go to our Speakers Bureau site and bring our faculty, bring our rabbeim, we'll work with you. Have YU Shabbatot. Let's do Yemei Iyun. We're launching a new Strauss Center for Torah and Western thought. It's going to be led by Rabbi Dr. Meir Soloveitchik. We want to be a presence in your lives like that. The Center for the Jewish Future has an array of programs. Thank God 400 of you from over 80 communities are going to join together for a 3-day celebration called Champions Gate, where what we're trying to do is fortify you with the services of Yeshiva University. But I must tell you, it's not just Yeshiva University. It's the RCA for rabbis. It's the OU for synagogues and communities. We have to form a broad coalition of people of goodwill who know that together we are an unbelievable strike force for values in a world hungry for it. Let's just be conscious of it, and let's believe in each other, and let's give each other a break occasionally, ladies and gentlemen. As long as we know that we're all trying our best, and we're trying to do it, think of what we get to build.
Thank you. We'll end with one question that I hope is a layup question, and he gets at least one free pass from us
I'm not
today.
good at layups. Is it a softball?
We'll use a softball.
Okay, thanks very much, Josh.
This comes from Michael. My name is Michael. I'm a graduate of MTA NYC, Yeshiva College. I've experienced the last administration and yours, and I commend you on really making huge strides in moving YU in the right direction. How many more terms can we expect you to serve as president?
It depends on the parole rules. I want to say just a few things about that. Many of us are products of the last administration and the administration before that. Each people entrusted with the leadership of an institution or of a small piece of responsibility for Klal Yisrael do our best in the circumstances in which we're given. I'm here today because of the last administration. My children, some of them were educated because of the last administration and the one before that. That's why we're here. We each try to advance the story given the circumstances, the environment, the culture we find ourselves in. I think we're making great strides. I've been given the capacity to bring around me extraordinary people, to listen and have as students extraordinary students. And we're doing this stuff. We're making strides in our high schools and with our undergraduate schools and our graduate schools. It's a time of some constraint. There's going to be more news, no doubt, coming down the pike of ways that we have to figure out how to make more with less. And you're going to have to help us have more so that we can keep dreaming those dreams. But I must say that for me and for those around me, every day is a privilege. It's not necessarily easy, but I'm not sure that easy is one of the goals we've been given. In answer to the particular question, I serve at the pleasure of the Board of Trustees and of Esther Joel. As long as there are dreams to make real, as long as there's the capacity to keep that vision going, and as long as people want me and my colleagues to continue to work for you, to negotiate through that, to help make hard decisions, but to bring Jewish joy into every day and to bring a hopefulness for an agenda of Torah Umada into the future. So we'll take this ride together and see where it takes us.
Thank you very much. We thank all the participants. There are still some great questions out there. We hope to be able to get back to you on all those questions and be in touch with you. By the number of people who are on the call, on the webcast, and the number of questions that have come in, we hope that this has been a successful idea, and we hope it's something that we can continue to do into the future. We thank President Joel for his precious time.
And thank you for your more precious time.
And all of you for your more precious time. Thank you for taking my line. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
And Chag Sameach to everybody.